and we're going to be talking about a topic that is probably a little different than maybe what you've been used to in the past. My name is Annette Sharpe, and I have been a coach for 17 years. I've done small business coaching and life coaching, but my passion really is helping teams to come together, to be more collaborative, and to understand each other better so that you work better and more efficiently in your groups. I use a tool called the Discover Your Sacred Gifts program to help teams to figure out what their gifts are and what they're not. And so that you can embrace the gifts that you have, you can embrace the gifts in your team, you can let go of judgment, of maybe you have some judgment around other people not having the same gifts as you, and also to allow you to let go of those gifts that you don't have so that you don't feel guilt, shame, or whatever you might feel if you're not able to perform at a certain level that other people can. So I'm going to start by sharing something called the Feel on Purpose formula with you. I'm going to rattle through it really fast. Usually I take about 20 minutes to really go into this, but I don't want to spend all that time on the Feel on Purpose formula. I just want you to understand it so that you can start thinking about where you feel on purpose in your life. Now, there's a big difference between finding your purpose and feeling on purpose. Can you feel the difference when I say those two statements? I want you to all, by the end of this call, to shift from thinking you need to find a purpose, because that's a lot of hard work, to actually feeling on purpose in different areas of your lives based on the gifts that you have, okay? So there's 4 pieces to the Feel on Purpose formula. The first piece, you might want to write these things down. The first piece to the Feel on Purpose formula is knowing what your gifts are. Okay, we're always going to start there. Every single person on the planet has sacred gifts. And the definition that we give to what sacred gifts are is that they are unexplainable abilities that you have from birth until death that allow you to do ordinary things extraordinarily well. So there's a few key things in there. Number 1, you're born with them. You don't learn them. They're not skills. They're not even talents necessarily, but these are unexplained abilities that you have to do really ordinary things extraordinarily well. And there are some signs of sacred gifts that you can look for in your lives, like feedback that you get from others or repeated patterns in your life, stuff like that. But I don't have time to go into all of those things. But you'll start noticing what your gifts are as you dive through the work and you start really looking at it. Okay, the second piece of the Feel on Purpose formula is that you apply your gifts to something that has meaning to you. A lot of people know what their gifts are, and they get caught up maybe in work or in life doing things that don't necessarily have meaning to them, and so they don't feel on purpose. However, when you apply your gifts to something that's meaningful to you, it naturally raises your energy. You naturally feel more alive. You feel more energized. So if you're wondering what is meaningful to you, you might call it your passion. You might call it that thing out there that you want to do to make a difference in the world. The third piece of the Feel on Purpose formula is that you know who benefits directly from your actions, from you taking action in something meaningful to you and using your gifts. So this is especially important for team leaders. I always emphasize this with team leaders, because if a team leader is out there doing something, building something, and their team doesn't necessarily see the impact of their work, who's benefiting from it all the way through to the end, they don't see the thank you cards, they don't see the recognition, they don't see the emails that come through, then they aren't getting the benefit of knowing who is benefiting from them in their gifts, right? Hopefully they're using their gifts while they're working with you. So for you, when you're thinking about feeling on purpose, I want you to think about who or what benefits. And if you don't know, if you don't have a clue, think about the types of people that you like to work with. Maybe it's a subset of a group of people. Maybe it's animals, and maybe it's a specific type of animal. Maybe it's a specific, maybe it's marine life, or maybe it's just whales, right? So who benefits, and it might also be the planet. So we already heard that that's important to mark. But so the planet could benefit from you utilizing your gifts as well. So that's the third piece of the Feel on Purpose formula. The fourth piece of the Feel on Purpose formula is that you are operating in a vehicle that suits your personality. And this is important because our personalities are separate from our gifts. And our personalities make up what we are as human beings, right? We have preferences, we have abilities, we have beliefs, we have all that stuff that makes us human. And the humanness can either allow us to perform in a certain way or not in others. Right now, I'm using a Zoom. Zoom is my vehicle, or a webinar, right? It could be podcasts. It could be, there are so many different ways for you to express your gifts, but you have to find a vehicle that works right for you. Not everyone wants to talk to people in another part of the world through a screen. Some people need to be face-to-face. Some people need to know which vehicle is right for you and explore that through the human parts that are you. And when you get all of those things right, you'll feel on purpose. If there's one piece in the formula that's a little bit off, or if you feel a little bit off in your life, I'd like to encourage you to look at those 4 pieces of the Feel on Purpose formula and identify which one maybe isn't working for me. So sometimes people who are unhappy in their work or in their life in general, they think they have to give it all up. They have to change everything, but you don't. You just need to tweak something sometimes. And sometimes that is also very freeing. You know, maybe you're not applying a certain gift. Maybe your role needs to be evolved in some way. I don't want you to search for a purpose. You can feel on purpose right now. It just means tweaking some of those elements of the Feel on Purpose formula. Either you're not utilizing some or all of your gifts, or you're not applying them to something of meaning to you, or you don't know who's benefiting from the actions that you're taking, or you're in a vehicle that just doesn't fit with who you are. But one of those things can change, and then you'll feel on purpose, or sometimes more than one. There is one thing though that can get in the way. Even if you have all 4 of those things in place, and it seems like in the formula, you should be feeling maybe more happy, more fulfilled in your life. The one thing that can get in the way is the H factor. H factor is your humanness, okay? There are moments in our lives where things just happen. We have to recognize that. Someone gets sick. Someone passes away. Your car just got broken into. You know, life happens sometimes. And even when we're on track and we're really moving forward and we're really feeling good, life can give us a curveball sometimes. So you need to be gentle with yourself when that is the case, when and if that is the case, and understand too that sometimes it might not be something external that's getting in the way with your humanness. Sometimes it might be just you. You know, sometimes it might be you getting in your own way. You telling yourself that you can't do it because of X, Y, Z, believing that you're not good enough, smart enough, capable enough, whatever it might be in your mind or your belief system, which has nothing to do with sacred gifts, getting in the way of you expressing those gifts out in the world. So that said, I want to share a few of the characteristics of sacred gifts with you so that you know kind of what they are and what they're not. I won't go through all of them. There are 12 characteristics of sacred gifts, and I'm just going to share 5 of them with you, okay? The first thing you need to know is there are 24 sacred gifts. And you have more than one, and every single one of you has gifts. There are gifts at play in your team every single day. You probably have 4 to 8, but you could have less or you could have more. It's not a scientific number. There isn't like I fill in all my questionnaires and it spits out your top 5 gifts. It doesn't work like that. Your gifts are your combination. I like to say they're like a combination lock to your soul, basically, because once you understand what your gifts are, you can play with them in different ways throughout your life.